From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang, and here are the news. On the top story, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Thursday morning will attend the Mid-Year Command Conference 2025 of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, to be held at the Tejeros Hall, AFP Commissioned Officers Country at Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo in Quezon City. Last year, the meeting was graced by Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr., AFP Chief Romeo Bronner Jr., Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, and Special Assistant to the President Anton Lagdameo, along with top military officials. The President expressed support to the AFP's bid to strengthen its capabilities in addressing cybersecurity concerns. During the conference, ground commanders are expected to present detailed updates on their respective operations and their assessment of internal and external security threats.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. announced the long-awaited deployment of the Dalian trains for commercial use at the Metro Rail Transit, or MRT-3, nearly a decade after the government purchased the train sets. The Philippines acquired 48 light rail vehicles in 2014 from CCRC Dalian Company, but technical compatibility issues prevented their operation on the MRT-3 system. After years of storage, only 3 of the train sets comprising 9 coaches are now ready for use. Modifications to the trains were made at no cost to the Philippine government. German firm TUV Rheinland oversaw a full technical audit, while MRT-3's current maintenance provider, Japan's Sumitomo Corporation, conducted final safety checks. Once all 48 Dalian cars are deployed, the MRT-3's capacity is expected to increase significantly, with reduced intervals between trains from 4 minutes to as low as 2.5 minutes. The MRT-3 currently serves around 380,000 passengers daily.
Kung maaalala ninyo, noong 2014, nakabili po tayo ng mga tren galing sa China. Nakabili tayo ng 48 na karwahe para sa tren. Mula ng 2014, di pa nakatenga lang ito, hindi po nagamit. Kaya ang ginawa natin ay binalikan natin ito mga ito at tiniyak natin na kung ano ba ang kailangan gawin para magamit ang Dalian train na ito ay gawin na natin. So makakapagbuo na tayo ngayon pa lang 3 trains na 3 karwahe. So 9 nitong cars na ito. Doon sa 48, tuloy-tuloy natin na titignan at gagawan ng paraan para naman magamit. Dahil 10 taon nakaparada ito hindi nagamit. Kaya maging maginhawa ang pagbiyahe ng ating mga kababayan, lalo na mga senior citizen, lalo na PWD at saka yung mga estudyante natin.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. expressed optimism that the subway stations of the Metro Manila Subway Project, MMSP, will be partially operational by 2028. After inspecting the Camp Aguinaldo Subway Station in Quezon City, President Marcos said he is happy to see the progress of the ongoing construction work of the MMSP. President Marcos said travel time from Valenzuela City to the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA, in Pasay City would be reduced to 40 minutes from the usual trip of 2.5 hours once the MMSP is operational. He also lauded Japan, the country's partner for the construction of the subway, for doing a very good job.
Ito yung ating subway project na papaabutin natin hanggang itong phase na ito, hanggang Valenzuela. Ngayon, pagka nabuo na ito, ang travel time mula sa Valenzuela hanggang sa airport ay sa kasalukuyan, mga 2 oras yan eh. 2 oras kalahati. Kaya mababawasan yan hanggang mga 40 minutes na lang. Kaya napakalaking bagay pag nabuo natin ito. Nakikita ko naman na doon sa tinignan namin yung machine, yung na talagang humuhukay. At maayos naman ang patakbo, lalong-lalo na ng ating mga Japanese engineer. Andito si Ambassador ng Japan at siyang namamahala para tiyakin na magandang trabaho. At masasabi ko naman, napakagandang trabaho ng kanilang ginagawa. Sana matapos natin ito hanggang sa Valenzuela, baka matapos natin ito 28. Baka pwede nang in-inaugurate 2028. Basta tingnan natin. Lahat naman ay nag-agree na kailangan na bilisan ng mabuti at ng gusto dahil ang mga ating mga commuter para naman mas maginhawa ang kanilang pag-commute. So, patuloy natin ginagawa, napaka-impressive. Impressive talaga ito. Kung titignan ninyo, isipin nyo kung gaano kabigat yung engineering na dinadala nila dito. But the Japanese do that the best. I think in the whole world, it is recognized that the Japanese are one of the top when it comes to heavy engineering and construction projects such as this.
The MMSP, the country's first underground railway system, is a 3-kilometer and 17-station rail line that will connect Valenzuela City in the north to Pasay City in the south with a spur line at Danaiya Terminal 3. The first tunnel boring machine or TBM of the contract package or CP103 of the MMSP will be launched from Camp Aguinaldo Station toward Ortigas Station following a tunnel alignment under Barangay White Plains, Corinthian Properties and Meralco compound. As of June 30, the TBM has advanced 281.74 meters from the launch shaft and has reached the Camp Aguinaldo White Plains boundary. The TBM is expected to reach Corinthian Properties by the fourth quarter of 2025. CP103 of the MMSP includes the Anonas and Camp Aguinaldo stations, as well as 3 interstation tunnels connecting East Avenue Station to Anonas, Anonas to Camp Aguinaldo, and Camp Aguinaldo to Ortigas Avenue Station. The total route length of CP103 is approximately 6.35 kilometers.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has issued Executive Order or EO 88 strengthening the National Task Force Diwalwal, which oversees mining operations within the Diwalwal Mineral Reservation Area or DIMRA, an 81-hectare gold-rich zone in Huancayo, Davao de Oro Province. Under EO 88, inked by the President on July 4, President Marcos ordered the reconstitution of the National Task Force Diwalwal, designating the Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR as the new Task Force chairperson. Task Force members include a representative from the Office of the President, the Secretaries of the Department of National Defense or DND, and the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG, and the chairperson of the Mindanao Development Authority or MINDA. According to EO 88, the National Task Force Diwalwal will have the primary responsibility of overseeing all mining activities in the DIMRA with an end view of creating an environment conducive to lasting peace and sustainable development. The task force will oversee the implementation of all government programs, activities, and projects aimed at the rehabilitation and development of the DIMRA. It is also directed to operationalize and coordinate effective and timely execution of measures to regulate and rationalize all mining activities in the DIMRA. The National Task Force Diwalwal is also instructed to study and implement measures and ways forward, as well as collaborate and establish institutional partnerships with concerned government agencies and the private sector. All concerned government agencies and local government units or LGUs within Davao de Oro are enjoined to provide full support and cooperate with the National Task Force Diwalwal to ensure the effective implementation of EO 88. Meantime, the chief executive has declared June 25, 2025 to June 24, 2026 as the centennial year of Manlilikanang Bayan Hadja Amina Api. Hadja Amina Api, a master mat weaver from the Samar cultural community in Tawi-Tawi, was conferred the title Manlilikanang Bayan National Living Treasure for her unparalleled skill and artistry in the traditional mat weaving of her people. Her works, remarkable for their intricate designs and vibrant colors, have gained national and international recognition, symbolizing the depth and dignity of Filipino indigenous art. Proclamation 963 directs the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, or NCCA, to lead, coordinate, and supervise year-long commemorative activities that will honor Hadja Amina Api's legacy and promote deeper public appreciation of indigenous arts and cultural traditions. The centennial year aims not only to pay tribute to Hadja Amina Api's life and work, but also to foster pride and awareness of the intangible cultural heritage that continues to enrich the Filipino identity. All agencies and instrumentalities of the national government, including government-owned or controlled corporations, state universities, and colleges, are directed, while all local government units, non-government organizations, and the private sector are encouraged to support and participate in the observance.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still from the Malacañang, the directive for all officials of the Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, to resign from their respective posts will give Acting Secretary Dave Gomez a free hand to choose his staff, according to Malacañang. In a radio interview, PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said she would submit her courtesy resignation within the day. This as Gomez confirmed that he directed all incumbent PCO undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, and directors, as well as heads and other presidential appointees of the agencies attached agencies, to tender their unqualified courtesy resignations not later than July 18. Gomez said the issuance of the memorandum is a standard transition practice while the performance review is underway. Based on a memorandum issued by Gomez on Monday, Gomez said all PCO officials would continue to report for work and perform their usual duties and responsibilities until any action is taken on their courtesy resignations. Asked if there is an instruction for her to tone down when responding to media queries during Palace Press briefings, Undersecretary Castro said she is gentle in answering questions.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, millions of Filipino farmers have benefited from the continuous agricultural production support of the administration of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., the Department of Agriculture, or DA, reported, citing extensive assistance through seedlings, machinery, fertilizer subsidies, and crop insurance. In a pre-State of the Nation address or SONA interview, DA spokesperson Assistant Secretary Arnel de Mesa said these efforts have translated into higher mechanization levels of rice farms in the country. As of February 16, the country's mechanization level reached 2.78 horsepower per hectare, improving from 2.68 in 2022 and 2.31 in 2013. Based on Philippine Center for Post-Harvest Development and Mechanization, or PhilMech, data. The level of farm mechanization measures the degree of agricultural modernization in a country. The Marcos administration seeks to elevate the country's mechanization level to 3.40 horsepower per hectare under the amended Rice Tariffication Law through the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, or RCEF, closer to 4 HP per hectare target mechanization in the Philippines. To date, the PhilMech has distributed 30,092 units of farm production machinery, including rice combine harvesters and four-wheel tractors. Other government interventions to help farmers include the distribution of 98 million kilograms of free seedlings for rice, corn, and high-value crops. More than 23 billion pesos worth of fertilizer aid has also been granted to farmers, helping them boost local production. Besides this, 4,775 rice processing systems, post-harvest and processing facilities were also given to 4,465 farmer cooperatives and associations or FCAs. Drones for precision seedling were also granted to the sector, the MESA added. In terms of insurance, almost 12 million Filipino farmers have benefited from policy payments from 2022 to early 2025. The Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation or PCIC covered losses incurred in almost 5 million hectares for rice production, 1.63 million hectares in corn, almost 6 million heads of poultry and livestock, and 1.65 million hectares for high-value crops.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development or DSUD and the Social Housing Finance Corporation or SHFC are ramping up efforts to implement the Community Mortgage Program or CMP across the country. This is in line with Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to pursue people-centered housing initiatives. The DSUD Secretary Jose Ramon Aliling approved on Wednesday the proposal of SHFC President Federico Lacsa to revive an initial batch of 34 on-site CMP projects that had long been in the pipeline. These projects are expected to benefit around 5,000 member beneficiaries nationwide. He emphasized the alignment of the program with the Marcos administration's pro-poor and inclusive housing agenda. The revived CMP initiative will serve as a key component in accelerating the implementation of the President's flagship expanded Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino 4PH program. During the initial rollout of 4PH, most CMP projects were put on hold in favor of vertical housing developments. The selected CMP projects are being prepared for the awarding of lots by October. The projects may also evolve into incremental housing schemes, enabling beneficiaries to improve their homes over time with government support. This signals a shift toward more sustainable and community-driven development approaches. The move underscores the DSUD and CHFC's commitment to responsive and inclusive housing solutions that empower communities and promote long-term urban development.
Dateline Malacañang.
More than 4 million indigent senior citizens across the country are receiving support for their health and daily needs through the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD's Social Pension for Indigent Senior Citizens, or SPISC program, an agency official reported Wednesday. The SPISC is granted to Filipinos aged 60 and above who are frail, sickly, or with disability, and who have no regular income, pension, or financial support from their family. Under Republic Act 11916, the monthly pension was increased from 500 pesos to 1,000 pesos beginning January 2024, reflecting the government's commitment to help seniors cope with costs of medicine and food. According to the DSWD, the program has reached a total of 4,085,066 indigent senior citizens, providing them with monthly financial aid that helps ease the burden of medical and living expenses. Assistant Secretary Irene Dumlao said the DSWD shifted from the previous semi-annual release of pension to a monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly payout starting July 2024 to make the distribution of aid more accessible and timely. Cash cards are also now being used for digital disbursement in selected areas to make the release of funds more efficient and convenient for the elderly. For 71-year-old Merlinda Tudlasan from Island Garden City of Samal in Davao del Norte, the 3,000 peso social pension she received for the second quarter of 2025 from the DSWD's SPISC is a big help in her day-to-day life.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT on Wednesday partnered with the Maharlika Investment Corporation or MIC to invest in expanding internet infrastructure in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas or GIDAs. In a news release, the DICT said a Memorandum of Understanding or MOU was signed with MIC towards a shared commitment to promote inclusive and sustainable national development through investments in digital infrastructure and services. As part of the MOU, the MIC aims to invest in critical digital infrastructure projects that generate long-term returns and also drive inclusive growth across GIDAs. The partnership is expected to boost investor confidence and attract local and foreign investments in underserved areas. During the signing of the MOU in Taguig City on Tuesday, the ICT Secretary Henry Aguda vowed to fulfill the promise of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to provide affordable internet in the farthest reaches of the country. On the other hand, MIC President and Chief Executive Officer Rafael Consing Jr. said the MOU is a step towards building the digital backbone of the Philippines that delivers long-term intergenerational impact.
Dateline Malacañang.
Finally, for Dateline Malacañang, the 8 Filipino seafarers arrived safely on Wednesday evening via flight SV-870 at Ninoy Aquino International Airport, NAIA Terminal 1 in Pasay City and welcomed by the whole of government team upon the directive of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. The Department of Migrant Workers, DMW, led the welcoming team along with the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA Undersecretary Eduardo De Vega, Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA Administrator Pai Kaunan, and Department of Health DOH Secretary Ted Herbosa. The seafarers were among the crew members of the Greek-managed bulk carrier MV Eternity Sea, which was attacked twice by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea on July 7 and 8. Prior to their safe return, the seafarers were provided with immediate assistance and support from the coordinated efforts of the Migrant Workers Office, or MWOA team, and Philippine Consulate General in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. All of them will also receive financial assistance through the DMW's Action Fund, OWA's Emergency Repatriation Fund, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, DSWD, medical care from DOH, New NAIA Infra Corporation, NNIC under the Department of Transportation or DOTR, and comprehensive reintegration support from Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA, and other members of the National Reintegration Network for their smooth transition and for their productive and sustainable reintegration back with their families.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for today's Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Gaza-de Guzman.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.